You may be getting it all done, holding it all together. Your relationships might be intact and everything looks really good from the outside. But if you are suppressing your emotions, if you are high functioning yet constantly pushing your emotions away, your body is paying the price. Let's talk about why. Hey, beautiful human, it's me, Rebecca Wiener McGregor, and welcome to another episode of Effective Immediately, the show where we talk healthy emotions, abundance, leadership, and I give you a mindset shift that you can make effective immediately. Okay, so today we're talking about something that impacts so many high functioning, high achieving women, and that is the internal pressure to just keep moving forward, keep getting things done, keep pushing through, and not feeling our emotions. Okay, so if you are holding back from feeling your emotions because you don't think you have the time, you just have to power through, you just have to keep moving forward, your body is paying the price by holding on to those emotions. Emotions do not go away. Unexpressed emotions don't go away. And we know this, right? We know that when we try to push something down, it comes up in other ways. So let me tell you a little story here. I have a former client who's a super high functioning CEO, and she had been running on overdrive for years, just saying yes to everything, doing everything in her business. She was always in control, always on top of everything. And on the surface, her life looked pretty perfect, right? It looked like she was the picture of success. Her business was booming. She had a supportive team and her personal relationships were solid. It's pretty good, right? But inside, she was emotionally drained. She never allowed herself to feel the stress, the grief, or the anger. She just was constantly holding together and pushing through. Sound familiar? This came to a point where she reached this place of chronic stress. And that meant for her, it was headaches, it was tightness in her chest, it was sleepless nights, and it was an overwhelming feeling of being disconnected from herself. It's like she was always up in her head because she wasn't allowing herself to go down into her body to feel her emotions, which is where we feel our emotions, right? We feel them in our body. We think our thoughts in our head. We feel our emotions in our body. And she was very disconnected from her body because she wasn't letting herself feel. So even when these chronic stress symptoms came in, where she was getting these headaches, she wasn't sleeping very well, she was feeling this tightness, she didn't even realize how bad it was until she started feeling better and recognized how long she'd let it go, how long she had pushed away that feeling, how long she'd ignored it, how long she had had that heaviness on her chest. She said probably for a decade. And it wasn't just, it was coming from stuff that was happening now, but it was also coming from stuff that had been unresolved in the past. Okay, so she thought she could push through, she thought she could resolve it, but what happened when her emotions were suppressed for so long, they were manifesting physically, right? And her high functioning nature was actually hiding this deeper issue that she's paying for it physically. She noticed a change in her blood pressure. She noticed a change in her energy. She noticed a change in her ability to fall asleep and go to sleep and sleep through the night, right? This is what she learned. I'm going to share with you what we discovered together in this process of helping her heal. And what she learned was that the emotions don't go anywhere, right? It's like when you put stuff in that closet, in that storage room, maybe the one that you don't want to talk about, maybe the one that you don't want to go in because there's stuff in there that needs to be sorted out or whatever. That's like putting your emotions away, suppressing your emotions. Just like the stuff in that storage room doesn't magically get sorted out. It doesn't magically get donated if it's not of use to you anymore. It doesn't magically get handled. When we don't feel our emotions, they end up being suppressed. They end up being stored in our body. Okay, so if this is you, if you're feeling this way, I want you just to always be loving with yourself. Just look at this with the idea of exploring and with curiosity, okay? Not that you've been doing something wrong, because we don't need to add more guilt or any other feelings on top of the ones that are already being suppressed. Okay, so take a breath. These emotions, as they accumulate, they create tension in your body. They cloud your mental clarity. They block your energy. They keep you from making quick decisions that you don't second guess. They keep you from really tapping into your intuition, your creativity, because the body is where the intuition and the creativity come from. They don't come through the filters in our head, right? By the time we have a thought, we have an intuitive hit, we have a download, and we start thinking about it, then it's going through all of the filters in our brain. But most of the time it's felt in our body. And our ability to create and receive is also in our body. Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. Okay, so these accumulating emotions, this is why we feel physically drained, even if you're super achieving, right? This is why your life might look really nice on the outside, even productive, successful, high functioning, but on the inside, your body is holding on to all these suppressed emotions, okay? So the cost of this, of course, is that we have chronic stress symptoms. We wonder, why am I feeling so stressed out all the time? My life is actually pretty good. Why is my body reacting this way? Things are actually pretty good, right? You're looking at your life from the outside. It looks pretty darn good. Why am I so exhausted all the time? Why do I have this tension in the back of my neck or on the top of my shoulders? Why do I have this heaviness on my chest? Why does my stomach always feel tight? Why do I have digestive issues? Why am I getting these headaches? Why am I feeling foggy? Why am I feeling unfocused? All of these are symptoms of emotions that have been suppressed. And we're not living wrong, right? Basically, what's happened here is that we never learned how to process our emotions properly, so they just accumulate. Maybe at some point in your life, there wasn't space or time to feel your feelings because you were taking care of everybody else. Maybe the situation for you was that you needed to be the productive one. You needed to be the star so you would feel loved. So guess what happens with our emotions? Because we don't learn how to take care of them in class, we just push them away. We don't learn how to honor our emotions or feel our emotions. It's not a class we take in school, right? So if life is about being productive to feel loved, being productive to feel worthy, feeling like you got to hold it all together, maybe you had family members that you had to take care of. Maybe a lot of the responsibility of the household, even though you were the kid, landed on your shoulders. And there wasn't space for your emotions, or so you thought, because no one ever taught you how to do it. Right? So we suppress these emotions, we push them away, and they eventually manifest into ways that your body, that you simply can't ignore anymore, because your body will find a way to communicate. I always think of emotions being like the kid who is hanging out just fine, and then you get on the phone and they need you, right? Mommy, mommy, mommy. And the more you ignore them, the louder they get. The same is true with our emotions. The more we suppress them, the more that they will manifest in different ways that will be louder and louder until we seek the action to actually heal. To feel the emotions, to honor the emotions, to honor the experiences, to feel the feelings, because that's when they will move through you and out. Okay? Maybe that's something you've not ever experienced before. Maybe it's something you've never even thought of before. But once the emotions are felt, they move on. And the truth is, when you practice feeling your emotions, you actually get really good at it. You actually allow yourself to feel without judging yourself, without shaming yourself for having feelings, and without being angry at your body for having the feelings. They will move on. They will move out, and that they will take with it the tightness on the back of your neck, the heaviness on your chest, the churning in your stomach, the heaviness on your stomach, that heart racing feeling that you get every once in a while, those clammy hands that you get. It will take those physical manifestations with them. This is something that is so important here that you need to know that if you're suppressing emotions and it's manifesting in these really yucky ways, the fatigue, the brain fog, the digestive issues, the headaches, and the tension, that can be undone. That's what I've spent the last 21 years helping people do, is undo the effects of suppressed emotions. And it can happen for you too. You're not going to be the one it doesn't work for. Okay, so give yourself a breath. You are not too much for having emotions. You are not highly sensitive or overly sensitive for having too many emotions. The people who feel their emotions, have their emotions, are actually the ones who are super strong, super powerful, because they have power over themselves, power over their emotions, right? The people who feel a lot are not weak. This is really important for you to know. Feeling your emotions is not a weakness. People who have emotional mastery, who allow themselves to feel, who allow the emotion to move out of their body, actually are extremely successful, extremely happy, because they can always find that resilience that they're desiring and come back to that foundation of happiness and joy. Yeah, there's a little cleanup that needs to happen with some of the emotions as we get to learn this process, as we get to learn this emotional mastery, but it's not impossible. This is so cool because these feelings that you've been carrying around, if that's you, they can move pretty quickly. Once we start working on the subconscious patterns and training and retraining you how to feel your emotions, you can do a lot of good shifting your emotions. And then what happens on the other side of that? When the fatigue is gone, when the headaches are gone, when the digestive issues are gone, when the churning stomach is gone, when the heart racing is gone, when the heaviness is off your chest, guess what happens? You're no longer distracted by those things. You can actually reach your next level of success. You can actually allow yourself to see, okay, I see this next level vision, and these physical feelings and my emotions are no longer distracting me, telling me I can't have it, telling me that I just need to keep pushing through. It's really powerful what happens on the other side of all of that suppressed emotion. Okay? All right, so of course we're often praised, right? High-functioning women are often praised for their ability to get things done, to meet deadlines, and to handle pressure. But functioning on autopilot doesn't mean you're thriving. This is important for you to know. Just because you're not feeling doesn't mean you're thriving. And this is not a judgment. This is an acknowledgement. Because my desire for you is to feel the best inside and out, to have a healthy mind, to have a healthy body, and to feel like you have everything going for you in your life, and creating the abundance, working toward your vision, creating the legacy that you want. And I want you to feel really freaking good doing that. So take a breath, because this is where it can get tricky, right? You may not even have realized that you've been suppressing emotions. You may not realize that you've been walking around with this grief that's unhealed or this unprocessed anger. You may just be thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so tired lately, or oh my gosh, I can't believe I still have this heaviness on my chest. Why is this hanging around? These unprocessed emotions slowly erode your mental and emotional clarity. And I have lots of stories about different experiences that I've had with clients, right? Different people who have been at different stages of their careers or their lives and just felt like, I can't live like this anymore. I can't walk around with this feeling anymore. I can't try to push past this feeling anymore because it's getting too strong. It's too much. It's standing in the way of what I really want. And largely it's a distraction, right? It's a distraction from you getting everything, receiving everything, creating everything that you want to receive, create, and do in your life. Okay, so this client of mine, top of her career, she had created a wildly successful business, but her body started to give out. Every time she sat still, her mind would race. She had these thoughts of unfinished tasks constantly, unspoken frustrations. She was the one that you could imagine that I always, when I say you're fine, right? Fine with all the I's in it. You may have felt that yourself. She was like that. I'm fine. It's like she didn't even want to take the time to talk about what she was feeling at all because she knew it wouldn't resolve itself doing it that way. But she just didn't want to take the time to do it. That's a big deal. And then she learned that she wanted to take time for her goals. She wanted to take time to help her body feel better and her mind feel better because she realized she had things that she wanted to get done in this life. She didn't want to suffer through her life anymore. So we worked together and released the old tension, released the old pain, released the old grief. And guess what went away? The tension, the headaches, the mind racing, all of that stuff went away. Because when you release, you take the physical symptoms with you, which is incredibly powerful. Okay, give yourself a long, slow breath if you've been taking this in. Let's just remember here, emotions are not a distraction. They are a signal. They are a signal that something needs to be processed, understood, or resolved. Emotions are not bad. Some of them may not feel very beneficial, right? But they are definitely signals. And a healthy emotion or healthy human goes through the whole spectrum of emotion. Healthy humans feel anger. Healthy humans feel fear. It's just the suppression of that makes it get stronger, steps into maybe rage or anxiety or panic, and we don't need to feel those feelings. We don't need to reach that level before we process, before we resolve, before we let those feelings move on. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do now is stop pushing through your emotions. You need to feel them and release them to free up your emotion and your energy for decision making, your energy for your creativity, your energy for your intuition. All of those things require energy, and suppressed emotions that create physical tension, physical responses in your body are a huge energy leak. So it's time to deal with what is causing it and help yourself move forward so that you can feel the way that you want to feel and create the life that you want to feel that doesn't just look good on the outside, but feels really good on the inside. Okay, so what if I told you that your emotions are your greatest leadership tool? Have you ever heard that, right? When you are able to process and embrace your emotions, you become more authentic, you become more present and more powerful as a leader. Imagine how it would feel to stop holding everything in. Imagine how it would feel if you allowed yourself to experience your emotions fully without the fear of being too much or seeming weak or being too loud or too whatever you're thinking. Emotional freedom creates space for clarity, confidence, and creativity, and it allows you to lead from a place of genuine connection, both with yourself and those you lead. This is a power play, right? True leadership comes from emotional freedom, not emotional suppression. When you embrace your emotions, you reclaim your power. Yeah, take that in. You might want to listen to that a few times, okay? Let's take a moment and just have a little mindset shift together here, okay? Close your eyes if it feels right, if it feels safe. If not, just lower your eyelids or focus. Just focus and listen. And I want you to repeat after me. I give myself permission to feel. My emotions are part of who I am and I honor them. I give myself permission to feel. My emotions are part of who I am and I honor them. I release my fear of being too much, and I embrace my emotions as a tool for growth and leadership. I release the fear of being too much, and I embrace my emotions as a tool for growth and leadership. Give yourself a nice, easy breath. Notice any tension in your body. Gently release it. You are safe to feel. You are safe and free to process, and you are whole just as you are. You are already whole and complete. Feeling your emotions will just help you feel better and claim the life that you really want. Beyond all of this physical stuff that happens, beyond all of the mind racing, beyond all of the stuff that's stopping you from achieving your next level. All right, take wonderful care of yourself. Listen to this a couple times if you need to. Be really loving, and when you're ready, I want you to reach out, connect with me for your consultation, where I will give you the exact path to help you release what no longer serves you and to claim and embody the version of you that has everything that you desire. All right, have a beautiful week. Bye for now.